and welcome to the MTC report. This is Mark Taylor-Canfield, and it's been quite an exciting time lately. We're coming up on May 3rd, which is World Press Freedom Day, as designated by the United Nations. So this is sort of the highlight of my year. I focus on this day every year. I spend a lot of time trying to lobby members of Congress, people in the United States media, to start reporting on the fact and addressing the fact that the United States is currently ranked 55th in the world in terms of press freedom by Reporters Without Borders on the World Press Freedom Index. And given the anti-press Trump administration that we now have, I'm sure that our ranking will drop precipitously as of May 3rd, which is coming up soon. The World Press Freedom Index is put out by Reporters Without Borders every year on May 3rd on World Press Freedom Day. The rankings are meant to coincide with that day. And the United States has been dropping on that list steadily every year pretty much since 2002. So not a good thing. As I keep saying, I cannot be proud of our ranking on the World Press Freedom Index. That means that there are 54 other countries where there is more press freedom than in the United States at the moment. So, unfortunately, you're not going to hear this reported in the corporate U.S. media. Nobody wants to talk about that. I did do a report earlier today for the Thom Hartmann program, which can be heard on many different formats. But normally, this is something that the United States media does not want to talk about. It's sort of like their dirty little secret. And but I'm telling you here, so you're getting it from a reporter, from inside. I serve as executive director for Democracy Watch News. Today, I met with the staff for Representative Pramila Jayapal to brief them on the issues that I'm talking about here today, the loss of press freedom in the United States, and World Press Freedom Day, and also the deaths of Palestinian journalists in Gaza. So, welcome to the MTC report. This is where I get to state my independent views. Nobody controls me. I don't do any advertising. These are ad-free videos, so it's coming from me, not from someone else. But I just wanted to read you my latest article called World Press Freedom Day Will Spotlight U.S. Decline in Freedom of the Press. The United Nations has declared May 3rd World Press Freedom Day. New rankings for the World Press Freedom Index will be announced on that date by Reporters Without Borders. The U.S. is currently ranked 55th in the world in terms of press freedom by Reporters Without Borders. And under the Trump administration, the U.S. ranking will decline again, as it has almost every year since 2002, when our country was ranked 17th in the world. Trump's statements declaring that news media and journalists are, quote, the enemy of the American people, unquote, has damaged our credibility as a nation that supposedly guarantees freedom of the press in the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. Even with the current anti-press administration in the White House, U.S. media has failed to report on our nation's declining ranking on the World Press Freedom Index. As a result, the public is unaware of our steady decline in those rankings. Most members of Congress are also unaware of the situation. They don't even know that the World Press Freedom Index even exists. And there is a naive sense of denial on the part of most U.S. media and an unwillingness to report information which may undermine the credibility of corporate news networks. President Donald Trump's recent anti-press actions have included banning Associated Press reporters from White House briefings, the use of the Federal Communications Commission to investigate public media, including National Public Radio and PBS, and a punitive lawsuit filed against the CBS program 60 Minutes, which has resulted in the resignation of Executive Producer Bill Owens from that program. The former executive producer claims that the network would not allow him journalistic independence in the face of a major lawsuit filed against the program by Trump. CBS's owner Paramount is currently trying to complete a merger with Skydance, which requires federal government approval by the FCC. Trump is suing 60 Minutes for a whopping $20 billion. I've never heard of that before. That's crazy. This latest defamation suit claims that the news program edited an interview with Kamala Harris to make her sound better. Kamala Harris. ABC was the target of a defamation suit filed against Trump ABC was the target of a defamation suit filed against them by Trump in 2024. The federal judge who was nominated by Trump in 2019 actually dismissed his 2003 lawsuit, a $475 million defamation case against CNN. In November of 2023, Trump sued MSNBC, Reuters, and 18 other news organizations. The lawsuit claims that the defendants perpetrated a, quote, coordinated effort, unquote, to damage the reputation of Trump Media and Technology Group and to hinder the company's merger with Digital World Acquisition Corporation. Check that out as a name, folks. I'm not making this up. That is a real name. Digital World Acquisition Corporation. They want to acquire the entire world, apparently. Even when the administration loses these cases in the courts, the message is very clear. If you oppose Trump, you will suffer harassment. It can still cost the news networks large sums in legal fees even when they win. The resulting sense of fear among journalists and editors is exactly what Trump wants to create. It's an overt form of intimidation against the journalists he sees as his political enemies. Of course, he doesn't sue Fox News because Fox is his mouthpiece. When Reporters Without Borders releases their 2025 Freedom Rankings on May 3rd, World Press Freedom Day, they will surely take into consideration these legal battles and the U.S. news media's capitulation in the face of political intimidation. Because unfortunately, some news organizations are more concerned with their bottom line profits than with upholding journalistic integrity. ABC chose to settle their defamation suit by paying Trump $15 million. Meta settled their lawsuit for $25 million. Other factors contributing to the U.S. decline in press freedom include Jeff Bezos' muzzling of the Washington Post's editorial department and the Trump administration's gutting of the U.S. Agency for Global Media, which funds Voice of America and Radio Free Asia. Reporters Without Borders will probably be very critical in their assessment of the nation's lack of commitment to freedom of the press. You can expect the U.S. ranking to drop precipitously during Trump's term of office. No reporter, publisher, or editor can be proud of our decline on the World Press Freedom Index. It is the duty of all of us to speak out, resist threats to freedom of the press, and expose the nation's slip into autocratic fascism. Without a free press, democracy will not survive. So you can read some of my articles about this at Truth Out. One of them was reprinted at the San Diego Free Press. You can also go to democracywatchnews.org and read about this there. As I said, I did a report for the Tom Hartman Show earlier today, so you can see that video at my YouTube channel. The MTC report is where I do a lot of this kind of reporting, stuff that you're not going to hear in the corporate media, and even in most progressive or public media, actually. There is a large sense of self-censorship in the media in the United States these days, and it's getting worse now that more and more media companies are capitulating and acquiescing to Trump's intimidation tactics. So it's a sad state of affairs. It's sad as an American journalist to have to report this. I am not proud of our ranking on the World Press Freedom Index. I can't see how anybody would be proud of it. And I'm even more disappointed that the U.S. corporate media will not report on this at all. So kudos to groups like the Committee to Protect Journalists and Reporters Without Borders for keeping these stories out there and for doing their advocacy work on the part of journalists and news organizations. Also, I need to report this, that 176 journalists have been confirmed killed in Gaza during the war on Gaza. The vast majority, 99% of those who have been killed, of course, have been Palestinian journalists and media workers. So that's another thing you're not going to hear reported in U.S. corporate media. But it's a horrible situation. That attrition rate is unsustainable. Obviously, we're not going to really know what's going on in Gaza because all the reporters are being killed. And the number 176 is actually what the Committee to Protect Journalists has been able to confirm. But obviously there have been more deaths than that have not been confirmed yet. And people being harassed and their homes being destroyed. All sorts of terrible things have been going on there. Nobody is speaking out against that in the U.S. corporate media. So here you go. The MTC report, maybe one of the only places you hear about this. You can get information from cpj.org, which is the Committee to Protect Journalists. You can also get some information from Reporters Without Borders. So check out those groups. They do stellar work. Check out the World Press Freedom Index and see why the United States is ranked so low and why our ranking is dropping even more this year. And please support independent media. It's up to you now, the consumer, to be a proactive consumer of media and go out there and support and fund those people who you believe in, who you think are telling you the truth, and not the corporate media and the right-wing propaganda machines, which obviously lie to people all day long and think they're going to get away with it. But this is Mark Taylor-Canfield for the MTC Report. Thanks for tuning in. Please click the like button down there and subscribe to my channel. Peace out, you all, and please keep fighting for democracy. This is a very, very important time. All the other protests and movements up until this point for freedom of the press and freedom of speech have been sort of rehearsals for what's happening right now, folks. We are in the battle of our lives. So keep up the good fight, resist, speak out, protest, and make your opinions known. We've got to stop this slide into fascism right now before it's too late. This is Mark Taylor-Canfield for the MTC Report. Please subscribe to my channel, and peace out, y'all.